Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilman Marlon Lewis.
Good evening. Heads bowed and eyes closed in reverence to his utmost, his highest. Father God, we come right now thanking you, Lord God, for waking us up this morning, Lord God. We thank you, Lord God, for allowing us to gather again, Lord God, to do your work, the work of the people, Lord God. We ask that you bless this council and their families during this holiday season, Lord God. We ask that we have a productive meeting, that we take care of business as always, business as usual, Lord God. We pray for all of the families that don't have a place to eat this season, don't have a place to lay their heads this season, Lord God. We ask that you provide for those as you always do, Lord God, and that all of the organizations that are out there doing the work, Lord God, that you equip them to continue to do the work. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter. Here. Councilmember Deidre Johnson-Reed. Here. Councilmember Dustin Sweer.
Here.
Thank you. Item 1 is public comment. Please silence your phone, and remember, we don't go back and forth. We just listen. Madam Clerk?
Benjamin Myers for agenda item 3E.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I'd like to address one thing before I go to the item 3E. It says this is the charter, the procedures of meetings. Once voted on, ordinance is voted on, no item may be reconsidered within the same calendar year unless a trustee who was on the prevailing side of the first vote makes a motion for reconsideration. This has never happened, all right? This was first voted on in February of this year, February 7th to be exact, all right? And it's back on the agenda again the second time, because November 7th was it's back on the agenda for the third time. November 7th was the second time. All right, so in other words, we should not be having this on the agenda at all according to our rules. And this comes from anyone who wants to research section 226 of Rules of Procedure for Meetings and Board of Trustees. All right, now, just in case you guys do not take this off the agenda for tonight, I will elaborate a little on what I think we should be doing if we do go forward with it. I don't think that we should be doing business with CLECO for over 10 years. I think that's enough time. We already have a corporation that we're doing business with. We as a corporation ourselves are doing business at 10 years with our garbage collectors right now. All right, I think it's Pelican now. So that would be one of the reasons that we try to keep within that 10-year frame. But we also don't want to get ourselves in a position where we extend this too far. When I say extend it too far, I mean we have time for laws to change when it comes down to our Louisiana legislature. In order, it might show some support for what we're standing for right now against CLECO, maybe to address some of these things we might have, of course, with the Public Service Commission, who also regulates CLECO rates. Now, we're not here talking about CLECO rates, all right? Let's make that very clear, but it could change, the way we do business. It could be something that the legislature bring up in the next 4 or 5 years to change the rules when it comes down to a company having a monopoly over a place like us, you understand? So we got to allow for that change, and just like we are making a change and say where we allow for let's say technical products to be introduced at some time, CLECO and advanced things, Well, if we signed on for 27 years or anything over 10, we will be put in that position whereby if those laws do come into effect, then we have no opportunity to say out this contract, all right? Because apparently if they do, then we would be grandfather clause in under the terms of the contract agreement that we would be entering into at this time if we do. You understand? So I think that we should limit it to 10 years if in fact, we're going to go forward with this, all right? And of course, this other side product that we attach to this ordinance, all right? CLECO franchise contract agreement is a standalone item, all right? It was placed on the last agenda accompanied by something else with some separate agreement for 15 years of certain things that we would have been asking for in the first agreement. And even the last agreement when we do come to that. All right, so again, these are two standalone items. So, and when it was listed on the city council's agenda, all right, for hearing in February, it was listed as the CLECO franchise contract. This says it's listed now. All right, that's the exact same thing. Just because you have a tail put on it, because all that tail is a person whoever drafted this, thought maybe, okay, let's take this chicken, the CLECO contract agreement, and we're going to cut him up in pieces. And we're going to try to make it look like something different than we heard before. That's not the case. It's the same chicken. It's just cut up in some pieces, you understand, to disguise, itself as something different, all right? So again, I would hope that you all would consider removing this from the agenda tonight, all right? And we'll address it at the most appropriate time according to our research and our laws with respect to standing up to what's right by our procedures for the hearings, all right? So I think that you all should consider at least removing this. And when it comes down to these other things, I will address them at the public hearing part if we go forward. All right? Thank you, guys. Speak with you in a minute.
Good? Okay. Item 2, Madam Clerk.
Regular meeting of November 7th, 2023, which published on November 14th, 2023.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion of our minutes from November 7th? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Item 3A.
Special ordinance number 2023-2024-02, an ordinance amending the budget to allocate funds for the Garen Paul Atkinson Lewis Foundation.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis and a second by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion on this item? Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. I'm sorry. That was our motion to open the public comment?
Yeah.
Great. Any public comment? Hearing, seeing none, I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Thank y'all very much. 3B. Oh, God, don't.
I need a motion.
Oh, I forgot, we don't do two differents. Okay, now I need a motion to accept.
Move.
Motion.
Councilman Dustin Swear and Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Are we still on the Garen Paul?
Yes. It's
Okay.
the new way we're doing it, which is why I got mixed up. We are having the public hearing, and then we're going straight to vote on the issue, instead of doing it later. So I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'll get used to it. It's a good way to save a step, because what happens is we're talking about it, and then we're not
You go
voting
back.
till much later.
Right.
It really makes sense, but I'll have to get used to it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I like how you wait to do this when I'm getting off the council.
Well,
You can stay.
Thanks.
You could have a whole nother year of
when my
this.
clerk thought of it, we started doing it.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other
Dee, I got
discussion?
this. Dee,
Yes.
Dee, I'm not,
Yes,
just Garrett Paul Foundation, are you familiar, how was the money spent in the 10,000 last year? Well, is Shooter here?
No, he's not here, but yes,
Just
so
curious.
they actually bought some supplies for the center that they have and for the teen court.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I'm
they
just
did some good things with the
Great,
money.
great.
Absolutely, and
And turned in receipts.
in terms of receipts.
Perfect.
We had an agreement with him.
We did, yes.
Did.
Yeah,
And-
we
I
have
was
an
just curious
agreement.
what particular item they did, because I remember
Yeah.
talking about it.
Like refrigerator, I know they were getting computers and stuff like that, so,
Okay,
yeah, the mayor can tell you that it was well spent.
all right, great deal.
They got a lot of good things going on there.
Anybody else?
And, Mayor, that's in
Sir.
conjunction with teen court as well,
It
right?
is, it's with the
So
city.
it is sort of a city,
That is the reason that we contribute,
Right.
because it's helping with the city function.
right?
Basically, we have the teen court, we have this program, they stepped up to run it, they've increased the size of it. We all know that we have, as many communities, some juvenile crime issues. Any kids that we can get involved in this and steer them in another direction, I am all for it. But this is an unusual partnership, but the reason we do support this is that it is a city partnership.
Correct. And that's why I asked, because I know, and I spoke about it in the past, even years prior, we talked about us, donating to nonprofits, essentially is what we're doing. And I just wanted to, though I motioned and voted for it, I just wanted to make sure that the public is clear that this is a special nonprofit in which they're partnering with, our New Iberia City Teen Court. Am I correct?
Yes, and our whole court system, because they're all involved.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're doing part of our work.
That's
Correct.
right. That's a good way to
Okay,
put it.
good way to put it, thank you.
It's an awesome organization.
Cool. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Read B.
Special ordinance number 2023-2024-03, an ordinance amending the budget to allocate funds for the Hopkins Street Economic Development Authority.
I need a motion to open this public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed.
No, I can't vote on this. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's true. Y'all have to recuse
Apologize.
yourself. Yes,
Second.
because y'all
I'll
are on the
second.
board.
I'll second
Okay. Great. We have a motion by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item?
That's public hearing.
That's our public hearing. No, I'm messing up tonight. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to open our public hearing. Is anybody here to comment from the public? No, no one here. Okay, I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion.
Councilman Dustin Swear, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte, thank you. Now I need a motion so that we can vote on this item.
Motion.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion now on this item? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines.
To abstain.
Well, we're just not voting, right?
Right.
To abstain.
Well, do they abstain or just, we have an abstain button?
There's an abstination button.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
That way it's on the record.
Okay,
Then it's on the record.
great. Yeah, because they are on the board, so
It's not like you're asleep or something.
that's it. And this is an exciting project. This is going to be something really good, really good. And Mr. Doré came and visited us 2 weeks ago and is pumped. So I think it's something that's really going to be good. Okay, now we're moving on to 3C.
Ordinance number 2023-28, an ordinance amending the approved budget allocations for the American Rescue Plan Act funds received by the City of New Iberia, amendment number 8.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman D. Johnson-Reed, and I think Councilman Marlon Lewis had the second. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Now I need a motion to vote on this item.
Motion. Second.
Councilman D. Johnson-Reed, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item?
So we're just allocating the money. What are we doing here?
It was highlighted in the packet.
I know, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
it's here.
What's that?
It's on the second page.
Yeah, that money's going to the park, though.
Right.
Yes.
So that's the money that we're,
Yeah, that is for the school.
perfect.
That is money that's being moved to the school that we bought.
Park Place.
Okay.
We call it Park
Park
Place now.
Elementary,
It's
whatever.
Park Elementary. We've been calling it Park Place around my office.
Okay.
We've had, unfortunately, some vandalism issues again. We
wow.
are having to put some, it's a great project. You know, it's gonna be a senior citizen center in the West End. It's gonna be a computer lab, but there was no vandalism until the city bought the building, and it has been almost nonstop. We now have a security system. We did the final walkthrough on the job, and then they vandalized the air conditioning and stole the copper. We have had a few issues. We are in the process of fencing that in. We're in the process of replacing all of the broken windows. You know, some of the fence needs to come down
Right.
because it's going to be open to the park, and it's got a great use.
Right.
So we are having to move a little more money than I expected immediately to take care of some of those issues. We have another $40,000 that we had put in the budget for this year that I thought would have done some enhancements that instead now is kind of backing up and fixing some issues. But we're going to do whatever we can, but this money will help. We also, remember, have some money coming in capital outlay. And so I feel like I see the light at the end of the tunnel, that when we get to that point, that money's spent. We'll have a complete security system. Police officers are giving us, better presence since now that we continue to have problems. So I feel that it's gonna be fine. We just gotta get from point A to point B, Sometimes when you're doing something good, it comes with a few extra challenges. Yes, ma'am.
So, can we make sure we light it up around there?
We have been adding some lights. We call CLECO. We are actually adding 2 lights on site. And in the money that we are spending, we are adding some additional lights to make sure that our security cameras can
Can see
take
what's
some
going on?
happy
Okay.
pictures. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, if we can catch the copper thieves and the tire dumpers, we'll be all right.
Yes,
We
sir.
will
Big,
soon.
big challenge in our community.
Because they don't just dump, they vandalize.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
They're not getting it for nothing, Anyway. Anybody else? And I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Third time was a charm. I got it right. All right, now we're moving on to 3D.
Ordinance number 2023-29, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute a professional services contract with Bayrard Habits and Associates for the fiscal year 2024 City of New Iberia Streets Project, and further authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion to open this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing and seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Councilman David Broussard, Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Thank you all very much. Now I need a motion to vote on this item.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis and a second by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion on this item?
So this is, you're negotiating for the next road project,
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
So
we
I
have.
just want to make sure the public understands that we're getting prepared for the
Yes,
next road
we are.
project.
We are. This is the money that's coming. We are engaging our engineers now so that they can begin to meet with each one of you, and over the next few months, look at the streets, look at what we need to do. I'd be remiss, because he's looking at me, we also have a striping program, and I have asked y'all, I'm asking y'all to please turn in the streets that you see that you want some additional striping.
So I know that's going to come up later. I just have a question. I'll wait till that
Okay,
part
that's
comes
fine,
up.
that's fine. But this is the road program, but we're engaging them on 2 fronts.
Projects, right.
2 projects. Any other questions or comments? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 3E.
Ordinance number 2023-30, an ordinance granting a franchise right and privilege to CLECO Power LLC Company, its successors and assigns for a period of 27 years from the date of this ordinance becomes effective for the construction, maintenance, and operation of electric utilities, electric generating facilities, and/or transmission and distribution systems in, through, and across the City of New Iberia, Louisiana municipality, and for the use of the roads, streets, alleys, ways, and public places and other public servitudes within said municipality in connection therewith, for the generation, transmission, distribution, and sale of electric current, energy, power, and/or service, fixing the terms, considerations, and limitations thereof, and providing for payment by the company, its successors and assigns, of a sum equal to 4% of amounts received by said company from the sale and/or delivery of electric service at retail for residential and commercial purposes based on residential and commercial net rates, unbundled rates in the event of deregulation, billed for service within the limits of said municipality, exclusive of taxes, governmental fees, and impositions shown on such bills, as said limits may now or hereafter lawfully exist, and repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith.
Thank you. I need a motion to open this public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there anyone in the public to comment on this item? Yes, sir.
Well, can I address what was talked about before
Sure.
we start the public
Sure.
comment? Yeah. I expressed the opinion at the last meeting, which is still my opinion, that this proposition that we have here is not the same as the ordinance proposition that we had before, because the other one had terms that were going to be negotiated and put in a side agreement outside of an electric service agreement. So I don't think that this item is the same item as the item that came up before. But, as I said at the last meeting, in the event that it is an item that is being reconsidered, then we can take it up according to our code of ordinances, not Robert's rules. We can take it up if a person who makes the motion is one who was on the prevailing side in the earlier vote. And the earlier vote was a vote to approve. And we had a motion by one of the people at the last meeting who was on the prevailing side on the first vote. There was no veto override or anything like that. So I think this is properly before the council. And I can tell you that, I am very reluctant to tell a council person they can't speak, and I'm very reluctant to tell a council person they can't consider an ordinance and do their job. So I don't think on a technicality we ought to exclude anything, but I think technically, I think this is not the same proposition, and I think that it was properly done as a reconsideration if it was the same proposition. And that's what I said before, and that's what I've communicated, I think, consistently since then.
Thank you. We have a public comment?
I'll respond to that immediately. Nobody stepped up and voted, suggested or made a motion for reconsideration. All right? That was never done. All right? So that's out of the window with that. The fact that everything else is the same in agreement, except for he took some parts of the initial agreement that we were trying to get and put it under another ordinance, okay? Those two things stand alone as standalone items, the CLECO contract franchise agreement, as well as this other agreement that was attached to it, all right? That's standalone items. When this came to the council, all right, in February, it was under the same title, CLECO franchise agreement, right? Contract franchise agreement. Well, when it came back here in November, it's under that exact same title, all right? That's, again, standalone. So no reconsideration in between ever happened to make it so we'll be at this point where we are now, all right? So literally, we are violating our own rules and procedures if we're going forward with this, all right? I think that there should be a motion made tonight by hopefully some council person who can read and understand things themselves and not count on somebody else's education to interpret exactly what this procedure document says. Now, the only thing that has changed here is the numbers, all right, from 25 years to 27. That is the change. The other thing that changed is the bribe money from 1.5 million to 1.75 million. I spoke about this same type of deal that was offered to us in the year 2000. We were offered $1 million, all right, to sign on with them. But of course, that couldn't guarantee that we were going to do business with them until it went to the voters. The document that we had, our charter before, this new charter that was put together by this commission that Mayor Hilda Curry put together, all right, they came back and they took our rights away from us to vote, all right, on the proposed agreement between CLECO and the city. That the last person in line was always to be the voter on whether or not we wanted to go with CLECO under the terms that the city council as well as the CLECO agreed to. Then let's see if the citizens say, okay, we agree to that as well, we support this. That's it. All right, those things were removed. But again, the only thing that changed is just a few numbers, all right? But the title itself, you all placed on the agenda, all right, is one and the very same, all right? And there has never been any reconsideration in between. Yes, I didn't hear anybody from the prevailing side say, okay, I want to reconsider. Reconsider is put in place in the event that one want to change their vote. You understand? And say, listen, I might want to vote against this, so please put in for reconsideration. That's usually what it's used for, always has been, all right? Now, when it comes down to CLECO, well, CLECO is trying to shuffle the deck and, okay, now we want, let's put the 2 years so what this rush has started now. What is the hurry? What is the hurry, And then we talked about at the last meeting about how the money is going to be used. Well, that extra $250,000 that reappeared, that disappeared in 2000, it's reappeared now. I'd like to know who our idea was, but I'm thankful that it's there, in the event that we go forward with this, and that's still on the table. But the number of years should be adjusted that we agree to do business. We, again, doing business right now with a corporation for our garbage services, all right? 10 years. That's been enough time, Laws change, a lot of things change between now and that time. Technology advancement changed, All right, so let's just say a law changed where we can, okay, now we don't have to necessarily do business with CLECO under those terms. Well, it's going to affect us because if we signed on for 25 or 27 years, then we're going to come back around and it's going to say, okay, we have to stay by the words of this contract because that will be grandfather clause in. If we have some law that has changed, that has a devastating effect on that, all right? So we don't want to tie our hands, all right, to this change. And not to mention, it's too extensive, it's too long. 10 years is plenty enough. I'm not kidding you. It's way plenty enough. And to be honest, what is the hurry? All right? The issue came up about the cameras. Well, we talked about cameras, y'all, 6, 7 years ago. All right? We talked about cameras. As a matter of fact, when the mayor and I, we discussed those cameras that they had put, the ones that we have now. Somebody was giving them to us, you know, and told them, well, I thought that at that time, if we were interested in cameras, we need some real-time cameras, something that can feed straight into City Hall, the same thing that he's trying to acquire right now. You understand? We discussed that in length, you understand? And his response was, well, they're giving it to us. Well, Martin, you know what old folks were just saying. Some old folks say, well, when you get something for nothing, that's usually what you're getting. Nothing. All right? Because these cameras didn't do anything. They're just sitting out there as in places to, again, we never used them for anything. And besides, cameras don't stop crime. Cameras help in investigation of crimes. You know, if they were committed in an area and the camera was in view, and would have seen it. For an example, if we had used these cameras, let's say as far back as I recommended it, you know, we would have caught this shooting that took place on Hopkins Street on the corner of Hopkins and Ambassador Mail, because it was right in full view of where the camera would have been in post position on the opposite side of Hopkins Street, where you can see all the way down to Hopkins Street Elementary School, as well as all the way down to Main Street. You know, and so when we do put the new ones, I hope that there is one in that location. It's a prime location. It's a high crime area. We also would have caught this situation with this young lady, Kitty, who was killed on Short Lombard Street, all right? Because this camera would have that panoramic view, 360. It would have caught that, you understand? So again, yes, we can use the cameras. We need cameras, all right? And trust me, it's not brand new when Freddie brought it up. I talked about this well long ago, all right? And then when it came up again, it was in the case of the George Floyd case, all right? Where we saw example of how real-time cameras can be used and be to our advantage, all right? We still didn't do it, all right? And initially, we had at that time, we had money to do it with. We had the CARE Act money, what, $20 million, I think we had CARE Act money? That money could have been used for the purchase of some of those cameras, all right? They really, literally could have been used for this system, all right? Because the crime, it's been bad. We've been, no, we need them because, again, we took some box cameras, but again, we now need better equipment to work with for surveillance when it comes down to that. And again, yes, it would help in solving crime. But again, cameras are not used to stop crime, all right? We have a crime problem. We know we have a crime problem. I can tell you all this from experience and knowledge of the streets and our neighborhoods and the communities. We have to stop this flow of drugs that we have on our communities. This flow of drugs that we have on our communities is really creating crime, and we have the same which people, you know.
Stick to the CLECO thing, please.
Okay, that's that. Well, again, well, Fred, I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything. I just would like to say this. Last week, when we had the meeting, we allowed Steve Davis to preach about cameras, and that wasn't on the agenda, you know, at all, or at a whole lengthy period. I understand.
Oh, Chief
I'm sorry.
Steve Davis.
God, that's a flashback. You lost me for a second.
My mistake.
That's not,
But it wasn't on the
just
agenda.
like I said, just try to stick to
But
the.
again, he talked about crime, and I think that if we wanted to address that, that should have been placed on the agenda, because I probably would have chose to address it as I am doing my best to do now. All right, some things that we need to pay attention to that's not happening. All right, to avoid all this crime in our city. All right, now let's get back to the CLECO contract, which is the subject at hand. All right, again, what is the rush? We do have money already. You can't tell me that we don't have reserve money in case of an emergency. You understand? That 1.5 million, that's 1.75 million. That's not a bunch of money. You know, that's minuscule compared to the way we've been throwing money around. And listen, there's also money available right now. All right, the U.S. Congress at the top of the year, I think it was January, February, made available money to police departments. all right, in support of police departments, to enhance their security in their cities, all right? We have grant money right now available to us. Why didn't we apply for that? We applied for grant for everything else, you know? Why didn't we apply for that? And again, what is the rush? What is it why we trying to close this deal before we even through with the initial contract, which was at least 2 years left on it? What's the rush? You know, who's getting something? All right, we're not getting the services that we're paying for now. I submitted to you, Mr. Broussard, what, 6 lights that burned out in January? They haven't been turned on yet. You said you called them in. They haven't been turned on yet. We have multiple lights in District 2. Do you understand? I called in to the mayor's office to submit them, you know, haven't been turned on yet, all right? We got lights, Ms. Dita, I called one, and you said you called it in, haven't been turned on yet, all right? Well, right now, we're paying for LED lights, all right? But the few lights that they did change was like for a couple of them on Elizabeth Street, which is in District 2, all right? We get this yellow sodium light, you know, that's not LED lights, all right? They said that they would be putting LED lights up when they replaced the burnout ones. These were burnout bulbs that were replaced, of very, very, very few. All right, but again, in some particular areas, like for example on the corner of Anderson and Amador, it was the same thing. It was dark as forever. Here we come with these orange-looking lights again. That was after we had this discussion with Clico about the LED lights. All right, so they still and deliberately, apparently not coming service as we should be being served as a city. You understand? But yet we want to rush into another deal with them. All right. It just doesn't make sense to me, you know. In other words, we have money. So in other words, we can raise money if we thought we desperately needed the camera that bad since we didn't use money. And then the thing, the other one, the straw that broke the camel back is the one where you took money from the police budget to buy a property. You understand? Well, if we knew we needed these cameras like you all are so desperately chasing after for this money, you understand? Why didn't we use some of this money? You know, initially, all right? But we're taking it and we're buying for land to have access to the Pepperplex or whatever the case is. But the point is, that's money that should have been used for cameras. We could have been using that as the initial start of placing our cameras in location. And even if we had to piecemeal the deal a year or two till we get all the cameras out in location as well as the other things. So we do have resources for that, all right? So why are we in a hurry to do this? That's not a good deal, all right? This deal that we have on the table, it's not a good deal. It is really too long. You understand? You're asking other people, you're tying other people's hand. You understand when changes are being made ever so often. But we can't, all right, if our hands are tied for 27 years, all right, I don't care what the legislators say that we can do. If we're grandfather claused in with this contract, we're stuck with it, right? And it just doesn't make sense. There's nobody going that long doing business, all right? So again, we're not getting y'all what we're supposed to be getting already from Plico. We do have the money. Hell, if nothing else, we might do like everybody do for funeral costs, GoFundMe page. I'll be happy to put the first 1,000 up to get to that 1.5 million, you know, and I'm sure they got a lot of other citizens who would be willing to do the same thing, rather than, you know, sell ourselves out to Clico for the next 27 years. And trust me, Ms. Ledbetter mentioned at one of the meetings, we know those rates are going to be going up. They might be going up in the next couple of years, right? So in the math that she did, where she presented about what City Hall is paying, $500,000 a year, all right, that might be now, but since we have this new tier level thing, we are being charged 10 cents per kilowatt hour, all right? Anything over 1,500 kilowatt hours, all of us, residents as well as commercial, are being charged 10 cents per kilowatt hour. How much of a jump that is, and what the city is going to be paying just for the services of here at City Hall, all right, in the land. So we have to consider all those things. I mean, really, it's no rush. It's really no rush, because again, the cameras is not solving crime. I mean, the cameras don't stop crime. The cameras help solve crimes if the crimes are committed in those locations, or if we need to track somebody throughout the city. But what is the rush? And why is Clico trying to rush this? You understand? And why is our mayor and city attorney, why? I don't see the reasoning, all right? Now, if there's some nefarious reason that I don't know about, let's talk about it tonight. Y'all discuss it tonight. But I hope when I get finished talking right here, right now, I hope somebody have faith enough in God to say, listen, we need to stop this right now, take this off the agenda, address this correctly, give it the time that we need to decide this, you understand? and add some new things that we might need to add to make sure and ensure that we're getting the quality of services that we're paying for. You know, and again, things can change in the next couple of years. And we can't commit ourselves to this document for 27 years, you know, and something changed, let's say year after next, but we stuck with it, all right, because of doing it well ahead of time, all right? So again, we need to consider all those things, all right? So again, I hope that someone make a motion to remove this from the agenda right here tonight, right now, you know? And let's just take it up at a later time, when time allows, bring it back to the agenda, because as far as for it being on it, I don't need anybody to tell me. I'm educated enough to read what's written and know what it means, all right? We're not doing this right. We are not doing this right. This is not, should not be back on the agenda right now for anything. So again, keep that in mind. So again, we knowingly, some of us, or if you proceed with it, you're knowingly going forward with a violation of your own rules, ordinances, and procedures. All right. So I don't know what the consequences with one who be in such violation. I don't know if it's substantiated any charges or malfeasance in office at the least, you know. But again, this is what we're dealing with. Again, we don't need to rush. And again, I think 10 years, we doing business with a corporation for 10 years. We can do business with CLECO for 10 years. And if they want to change the numbers on what they're offering or what they're trying to bribe us with, well, that's the time to do it. Let's find out exactly what you're going to do. But we all need to take a stand. And we need to stand together, all of us, you know, because it's going to affect all of us. And it's going to affect all our families, you know, for the next 27 years. And right now, CLECO is not showing us any mercy. All right, look what they introduced on our bills, the chill level thing. And for those who are not aware of, you know, this 4% that we have in this, all right, this 4% comes from the customer. This comes from us. If you look on your bill, you're going to see that 4% as a franchise fee. All right, we are paying that. CLECO not giving us that. It was that way before, way back when Mayor Allen Degg was mayor. That the CLECO paid that to us, but somewhere along the line they got this thing, well, okay, we can pass this on, all right? So these are some things that we need to address in our charter agreement as well. We don't need to continue to pass this on to our customers when CLECO actually is supposed to be paying us that themselves, you understand? So these are some things that we need to address before we say sign on for such a period of time. Again, listen, you guys, I'm with us, all right? This thing with the cameras, I know we can use them and it would serve us well, all right? But I'm not willing to sell out to CLECO, take money to rush it to something for whatever their reasons are, or for whatever anybody else's reasons are. And I need to protect us from that. I think if this is the case, you know, if our attorney who's negotiating with CLECO, you understand, he said CLECO don't want to negotiate with the city council persons again. So they're taking away your power and authority. You understand? Because you can. You understand? CLECO can't dictate who negotiates for us. All right? He cannot. They cannot. All right? But we can do it. You understand? So, and we only have one attorney, right? One city attorney who's assigned to that. If that's the case, then why don't we consider getting us another attorney who's more knowledgeable about CLECO working than the electrical franchise, and have him come in and let's see if we can get a better deal. All right? Because they don't have anything that, you know, on the table. It's those of us who are up here, some of us might have some hidden agenda, but an independent attorney to look into this, you understand, and not to mention negotiate in our behalf, I think that would serve us well, just to make sure we're being fair, you understand what I'm saying, and not allowing corruption to seep in. You know, some of us want to act like we can't see it, but it's there, Jesus. I mean, you all talk about faith in the Lord all the time, but right now you're ready to sell your people out for 27 years, and you're talking about you love the people. Jesus, I hate to see if you hated them. We got to do better. We need to do better, and this thing is really, it's not a good agreement. All right, it's not at 27 years. That's the crux of it all. And if we're going to go forward, okay, I would live with it, you know, but maybe 10 years, you know, that's plenty enough. That's what we do in business with other people at, you know, we're a corporation. Why can't we do that? You know, does the amount of money that they're offering correlates with the amount of years that they're asking? You think if we ask or suggest put in that we would like to do it for less, you think that number is going to change? Well, these are some of the things that you talk about in the process of your negotiations. All right? So, again, I hope y'all really consider what I'm saying here. You know, because me, I think to do what's right by God. If God gives us the wisdom to see it, say it. All right? Faith. Faith let me know we can do it. I'm not quitting. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. When it comes to doing what's right by God and our people and his people, I'm in. I'm all in. All right? And I thought, with a lot of us in here who call ourselves Christians and people who follow the Lord, we should be all in too. All right? Don't sacrifice our people's future. Please. That's not needed. None of us deserve this. All right? And it's really outlandish. And if anything that's antiquated, it would be the time that we're doing business, you know, length of periods like 20, 25 years. Corporations are not doing business like that. I did an analogy when we spoke, Marlon, about one of the biggest corporations that we have in the United States is the NFL. Their corporation, they're doing business, all right? But they can't and don't sign a player over 10 years. Why? It's business. That's a trend, and you can see it. That's a variety. Again, I hope that you guys consider this. And again, I hope that someone have faith enough in the Lord to make the motion to remove this from the agenda right here tonight. And again, I thank y'all. I really thank you guys for listening because again, and I hope that some of you all consider what I'm saying here because it's gospel. All right? So, again, thanks. Let's just, please, let's work together and let's do it right. 27 years, you all, it's outlandish. 25 is outlandish. My recommendation, again, is 10 years tops if we're going forward with this. Thank you again.
I have a,
Hey, is there anybody else we're still in the public hearing. Anybody else here to address
okay,
we'll talk when we,
okay.
yeah. All right, so now I need a motion to close our public hearing.
So move.
Motion by Councilman Dustin Swear and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Now we move on to the motion. I need a motion.
So move.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item?
Okay, discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't get to speak at our last meeting because
That's
I had to
right.
leave for work. I'm sorry, but I did watch
Where'd you have
back.
to leave again?
And I have to leave again, yes. I was looking at the time, I was like, oh, we need to hurry. Okay, so I just want to mention that CLECO, the last year, after doing all the back and forth we had earlier this year, they have stepped up their game. I know I've complained to all of y'all before how our electricity would just go out for no reason or it would surge. And I expressed that to CLECO as well. And whatever the issue was, they seemingly have fixed it. It has not been happening. And we are actually getting LED lights. Anytime I turn a street light in that's out, it's been changed to an LED light. I don't know if you guys are noticing the same. So they're holding up that end of the bargain for sure. I mean, I think that we have to have a contract for sure. And this seems like a good contract to me. I've read it. I've heard everyone's concerns. Everyone brought up good points at our last meeting. And it seems like it's a good contract in my opinion. And I would like to move forward with the way it is. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I was just clicking your pen.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. I thought you were saying something. Yes, ma'am.
No, I just wanted to say that, this particular item shouldn't be on the agenda right now. According to section 212 of our, charter, it says ordinances or resolutions vetoed by the mayor shall be submitted by the clerk to the council at the next regular special meeting. Should the council vote to readopt the ordinance or resolution by the favorable vote of 5 members of the council, said ordinance or resolution shall be considered finally enacted and become law, irrespective of the veto vote. Now, that didn't happen. A reconsideration vote would happen at that particular meeting or the next regular meeting. That didn't happen, okay? Then the next thing it says is, once vetoed on, no item may be reconsidered within the same calendar year, okay? Now, are we gonna go against our rules that are in our charter for this really, I think, pretty bad agreement? for 27 years. Last time we stopped the train that was going, and we said no to it. CLECO came back and made some concessions. If it wasn't for what we did, saying no, and really going to, well, I wrote letters to all the board of directors, I wrote letters to the president, the CEO, all of those people. We got some meetings with some people that we probably wouldn't have had, we not taken that step. You can get a lot more done than you think. But you have to, and right now, we have it within our hands because we have 2 more years on the current contract to get more. They did give us 2 hours. I think it should be at least 6 to 8 hours where they cover the whole city within each month. About the lights. I have a light down the street from my house. It's been off for a long time. And in maybe certain areas, they changing them to LED, but not in every area. So, in the information that I gave you, if you look at the very first thing, it says that typical agreements are from 15 to 25 years. Some say 5 to 20 years. So, we going 27 years. And these are things that I got off the internet today about purchase power agreements. 15 to 25 years, maximum, minimum, 10 to 20 years. We don't have to do a 25-year agreement. They only want to give us 15 years on the street lighting agreement, okay? Why wouldn't they give us a 15-year agreement on the franchise part of it? I think they both weigh the same, and that way other administrations will have a say-so within a certain period of time and maybe be able to benefit. And since we want to vote for this 27-year agreement because it's so great and all, when they come to raise our rates, I'd be remiss if anybody up here would say, we're not going to pay that $200,000 or whatever for a lawyer to try to fight this thing because we don't have the money. But yet we got $500,000 taken out of the police department for some property. But you didn't want to give a maximum maybe of $200,000 to fight for the citizens of our community to have lower rates or to stop them from raising the rates. And it's just, sometimes priorities get in the way, but a priority should be the people that we serve. We work for everybody, the whole city. So they're the people who I'm considering right now. We're going to get stuck in this agreement. They're going to raise the rates. We're going to come back, and we're not going to want to fight. But I don't think it should be on the agenda because of what it says in our rules right now for at least 1 year.
Thank you.
And the only reason why I'm here today is to say my piece because I should be at home because I'm not well.
I better be well after you leave.
Yeah, our city attorney had his hand up. Jeff?
Yeah, I don't see a provision that says we have to wait a year on a vetoed matter. It's not in the charter.
It's what you gave me,
No,
that section.
no, that is the section for a reconsideration, not a veto. Two different things.
Two different things.
But once it's voted on, it was voted on.
It was voted on.
Veto.
No, the original motion was voted on. The veto was not voted on. The last vote was the vote to approve.
Yes, but then you said that the last one, this one would be a reconsideration, but a reconsideration couldn't happen now. It should happen at that meeting towards the end or at the next regular meeting, if you want to have this reconsidered.
I don't think it's a reconsideration because I think the terms are different. And if the numbers are different, the terms are different. And the numbers are big different. So I don't
The
think
number of
this,
years are different.
no, the amount of money is different. Other things are different. I don't think it's the same thing at all. And our rule 226 talks about may be reconsidered unless a trustee, so I think we fit in that exception. I think this is proper. And everything else we've heard before.
I think it's not proper, and I mean, if somebody chooses to, you're always talking about, you know, you don't want lawsuits and everything, but this would be probably a good one.
Councilman Swear.
Yeah, thank you. I sat back and I listened, of course, like I always do. I do want to address some of the comments that were made.
Sure, you have the floor.
For starters, I can read and comprehend pretty well, but I'm not an attorney. That's what he is. And I'm going to listen to his opinion over anyone in this room when it comes to something, when it comes to the law. Another thing, so what's the hurry, right? You kept saying, what's the hurry, what's the hurry? I'll give you the hurry. I mean, we have an opportunity right now, like Freddie says, a tool in the toolbox, not to do away with crime completely. We don't live in Mayberry. I understand that too. But when I'm burglarized twice in a matter of since July and just recently on Sunday evening, it's starting to hit home. Ms. Dede expressed that she had an issue. These are things that are tools that can help deter. It's not going to catch them right there in the act, but it can help deter. Anything's going to help, and I'm all for that. I'm hearing back and forth. You know, we back over here. We're talking about the years. Then every meeting, to me, it feels redundant because we go back to either it's the terms or either the language not right or now we create malfeasance in office because we're voting on something that we're not supposed to be voting on when this man right here beside us is telling us, no, this is how it should be done. So I'm going to listen to him. So, and you brought it up, I'm going to point Mr. Myers out, but you brought it up. You said we have a crime problem, but we have a way to help. The police department came up here multiple times, and the officers that responded to my home said this would be a great asset to have to help solve most of our crime. So, they're here to get, yeah, you call it bribe money. I don't call it bribe money. I think they're a business. They're doing what businesses do. You know, it's redundant. I have 2 meetings left, and this is one thing. We've always, since 2017, we've been moving in forward progression, and we've never deterred from that. We've never gone off track. We have a PD in place. We have the Pepper Plant going through major renovations, which is great to see. We have our roads being done. Thanks to the taxpayers, we finally have more roads being done. But now we're stuck on, well, I don't know if I want to do it because it's a 27-year deal. CLECO's going to be here regardless. We can't change that. We can't, CLECO, we've said it at the last meeting. It's the Public Service Commission that sets the rates. So that's 2 different things right there. And you keep talking about, yeah, the rates might go up 2 years. I don't know. And like I said at last meeting, 5, give me 5, 7, 10, 15, 20. It doesn't matter. I'm ready to see this move forward and get it done with and keep moving forward. The cameras, I believe, will be a great asset. Mayor, you have negotiated very hard. Thanks to y'all, y'all brought up a lot of great points to actually, we have so much more that we didn't have before in the CLECO agreement. I know I'm only 39 years old, but, you know, what we see now is better than what we had before. So that's all I had to say. I mean, I wanted to speak my piece too, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
David's passing.
What's that?
David's passing.
Oh, Dave's passing something out. I don't know. This is. Yes, ma'am.
So, I'm not gonna address this whole whether or not it's proper because I'm probably one of the most inexperienced people when it comes to this stuff, so I have to go with what the lawyer is telling me, because I wasn't aware of how that was supposed to happen. So if he's telling us that it's proper, then that's what I have to go with. I would say that I know the public heard that Mr. Myers talked about the garbage contract and it's 10 years. There's a big difference between the garbage contract and the CLECO contract because the garbage company doesn't have any infrastructure that they're actually owning in New Iberia. So that's not a fair comparison. And I'm only saying that's because I really want the public to understand what's going on and clarify the things that are being said. And it's not the same. You can't compare. It's apples and oranges. There's no infrastructure owned by Pelican versus CLECO owning our infrastructure. So that's one thing. 25 years, based on what Ms. Ledbetter gave us, 25 years is within the realm of time. I mean, this contract says 27, but it's really 25 because we have 2 years left. So it's the same. It's the same amount of time. However, you know, would I prefer it to be less time? Yeah, I would prefer it to be less time, but we're not at the point where we can make a major change like that. And here's the other thing. In 2000, the voters voted for a 20 or 25-year contract. So we're just kind of doing what the voters voted for 25 years ago. So I don't feel like this is something that we can't do. And you guys know I fought hard against it because I know what 25 years does for a company when they have a contract like that. That sets them up so they want to be sold. They got a revenue stream for a long period of time, and it makes them look very good. However, you know, my colleagues didn't agree with me with that, and so they didn't vote that way. So that's a moot point. The other thing is the Public Service Commission is the group that we really need to fight because they're the ones who allowed CLECO to put in a tier system. They're the ones who have helped set the rates. And that's where our fight is now. It's really with the Public Service Commission. And I'll repeat what I said before. Our fight's at the ballot box. We need to change our Public Service Commissioner to somebody who will support what our citizens need here in the city of New Iberia. Because we are one of CLECO's largest customers. So we can get a different Public Service Commissioner in here. Because to me, that's the fight. Now, CLECO gave us a lot of things that we haven't had before, and we fought hard, we got that. The 15-year agreement, I will say it again. The good thing about the 15-year agreement is the fact that in 15 years, the technology is going to be different. We have the opportunity to change out that technology because now we get to negotiate again and get the newer technology. And so let's make sure that, you know, one, we are doing the right thing for our citizens and that we're making a good decision. And if you all believe that all of these things are things that actually help us, then I say we vote to move this thing forward. If you don't agree with it, then I say vote no. But each one of us on this council, we have to vote our conscience to know that we believe in our hearts what we're doing is the right thing to move this city forward because we've got to be progressive and we've got to be able to show the public that when we negotiate, yeah, we get something more, but we're negotiating 15 years, we're going to get even better technology. And so I just want people to understand what I think the issues are. And so that's my piece.
Thank you. Mr. Broussard, Councilman Broussard, sorry.
I passed a copy around to you all. I did my homework, Mr. Mayor, after you mentioned our Ebed LaSalle was a mayor through the last time when they sold the contract to CLECO. And I did some homework that I think one of the big positions you had on the bottom down here was in the Daily Weekly. Case of Ilias versus City of New Iberia for $10,000 damages following the death of Ms. Ilias caused by contact with electric light wire. Case tried March 15th, 1912. It must have took a while for them to settle the case. But in a big way, the big way I'm asking right here is to see how many times we might have got sued if we kept the electric company on the New Iberia. Not gotten to CLECO, we want the gas company to be here, water company. Look how much trouble we have off our heads, letting them handle it. That's a lot of time and effort that they're doing to keep things straight. And I think they can do it a lot better job than we can. So in a big way, that must have really been on Mr. LaSalle's mind, a lawsuit like this. at that time was pretty much money. So I wanted to make sure we did our homework and we followed up back whenever Mr. LaSalle did sell the company to Clico. And, yeah, we don't have to, Clico can't raise the rate themselves. You gotta go through the public commissioner. You know, we have to work hard on talking to them, don't do it. Let's not raise the rate down here, because we on the wrong back of Clico. They gotta ask the public commissioner to go up on the rate. And, they've been good to us all my life, I remember. And I think they can still be good to us. And the infrastructure they own, that's a lot. Who you gonna get to come buy all that up? You know, so I think we have a pretty good deal going. We'll get the cameras now. Lives are worth money. We can't put a dollar amount on a life if you can save it with that camera. I'm slowing down in the school zones now. Got the camera. You know, darn right. I'll slow down when it's not even time for school. You know, I know it's there. So, hey, look, that's what I'm gonna back it. And I just want to show you a little history from way back. Must have shook up some people to pay that kind of bill.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayor, no, I'm gonna stick to my guns on what I voted on last time, my conscience. And again, the power purchase agreement for municipalities, that actually kind of helped me further my decision, of purchase. We read that already, huh? Power purchase agreement is a contract made between an energy project owner and a buyer for a long-term purchase of electricity, typically 15 to 25 years. So the only thing that I probably would be in agreement with is if, 15 years would be the latter and 25 would be. But the debate in my mind would be, is a 25-year contract better than a 15-year contract when you look at the long haul of monies? Would it be better for the, entities involved? Because I know sometimes, I'm just thinking about the stock market. The longer you leave the money, the more money you get, right? So sometimes long haul is good and sometimes it's not. And I don't know if it's good or not here, but what I do know is that as far as negotiating and making decisions rather, goes, people elected me to make a decision for them now, and I believe in the power of now, and the power is in my hand now. So I don't want to rely on whoever's going to take my place, because I'm going to be termed out to have to make the decision, and I believe it's a good decision. If I was making a decision to hurt my community, then I probably would push it off to the next guy or girl. But this decision is solely based on what I believe that the community needs now. And again, comparing orange to apples, and I respect people's intelligence. I respect their art, all of that good stuff. But I personally can't compare a power company pretty much to anything because of the infrastructure. Can't compare it to the NFL, can't compare it to the garbage contract. I can't, because they're two different things. When I think about the garbage contract, all they got to do is pick up their trucks and leave, and pick up their cans and leave. Think about the power contract, you're talking about digging up lines, digging up poles, digging up. And then when I think about the cost of a new company to purchase which is their infrastructure now, I know the backstory. I mean, to me, it's cost efficient back to long term. To me, it might be more cost efficient to keep what you got, to keep what you got. I mean, that's just, to keep what you got. And like I said, if I had some of my constituents beating down my door and I'm going to definitely ride my district at night and make sure that all of the lights that were supposed to be turned to LED are turned to LED. That's my job. That's my job, which I don't think I should be riding after dark, checking on lights, but, I don't mind. I know my neighborhood pretty good. I still stand where I was.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna pivot a little bit on this topic. I think as an elected official, and I hear all my colleagues, but I think what's more upsetting tonight is that when you're accused of not following protocol and malfeasing in office and other things, that we're sitting behind this counter representing the public. We're representing a lot more things than this Clico deal. We're doing a really good job and being honest, but if you know me as an individual elected, I will never, ever break protocol or commit malfeasance in office based on what I see in front of me. This was a self-standing issue. It was voted on approved. It was vetoed by the mayor. It came back as a different self-standing issue. It's voted on again. It's two different issues. It doesn't even come in within a realm of possibility of the accusations that they were said tonight. So I'm behind Jeff, and I know my rules. I read the charter, and it's correct what we're doing tonight. So I'm very, very comfortable in that respect. But on the CLECO deal, 25, 27 years, 15 years, I said at last meeting that companies in the private sector have a vision. They want to make long-term investments. So if they're going to make a long-term investment in your community and provide reliable power supplies, they want the years, they want to put the numbers in, they want to know the numbers are going to work for the private company. So a number means making a long-term investment for your citizens, your constituents, your community. Nowadays, you can't sign a 5-year agreement and expect a public company to invest millions of dollars in a 5-year period. They need to use that number and make sure they can cash flow out their companies and make benefits to the community and provide what they want. So, you know, as someone behind here, knowing that their job is to provide the basic necessities to the community and lights, garbage, water, sewer, those kind of things, the decision's right tonight. The right tonight to provide a reliable power supply for the people. And like I said last meeting, you know, nobody's mentioned it. I'm the one, but during a hurricane, where's CLECO? They first come for, you know, right there, John on the spot, providing power. You know, where's CLECO when the poles fall in a thunderstorm? You know, those kind of things people aren't putting a price tag on, and it's very important. And again, we've come back to the table with, you know, the prices of electricity. Yes, I get it, everything, inflation, everything's high, but we don't control it. And Dee Dee made a good point. We know how we got to control it, but this agreement is not going to control the price of utilities. So don't come say, oh, you voted for LECO and now my electric bill's high, because that is so negative, so far from the truth, and we know that. And so if we want to attack the utility bills in a different angle, we're going to have to go a different angle. But on the franchise agreement, it all boils down to providing a safe power supply to the constituents of Iberia, the city of New Iberia, and this agreement does it and has all the tools to do it. And I didn't even mention cameras, because I wanted to leave cameras out of my discussion, because that's a moot point. That is so important and a huge benefit, but that shouldn't be what we're considering right now. Let's do what's right and make sure our constituents have utilities they need to grow and prosper our community.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to say, I forgot to say this, as far as the Public Service Commissioner goes, and Councilwoman Ledbetter brought up the ability to spend $200,000 to fight them, that's not off the table, at least not in my mind, because that's a different issue. We could still, as a council, vote to spend $200,000 to fight the Public Service Commissioner, and to make sure that they either keep our rates the same or lower them. That's, as a council, we can have that put on the agenda, and we can make a decision as a council whether or not we want to spend that money to fight the Public Service Commission. So I just want to make sure that, you know, I want Councilwoman Ledbetter to know that, you know, we hear you, I heard you. We still have that on the table, at least in my mind, it's still on the table. We can have it put on the agenda. And as a council, we have to decide whether or not the $200,000 is going to be something we want to spend. So I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. Everybody's had a say, so guess now's my turn. I'm not going to jail for anybody. I don't get paid enough money. So when you want to throw words out like malfeasance and those kind of things, I take my job and my reputation very seriously. Do I trust our city attorney? Yes, I do. And if he says this is a separate agreement, as we talked about when we brought this forward, and we've been talking about it for months, it is a separate agreement. So I think we're well within our rights to do what we're doing. If you don't think that I don't respect this council, and many of us have been together from the time I got elected 7 years ago, I haven't steered you wrong, and I haven't let you steer me wrong, because we haven't. We've been a team. The new council, well, we're already 3 years in with each other. I trust and respect every one of you. So I'm not going to do anything up here that someone's going to be able to say, you know, we went down a bad path. It ain't going to happen. You know, we've thrown out a couple of times that I asked to use the $500,000 to buy property for the Pepperplex. I did. And it came from the police department. And the police and I sat down at administrative meetings and said, we're going to spend more than that in 4 years of overtime, having officers in the street on Highway 14 directing traffic at our new city facility and putting themselves in harm's way at a time, you heard our chief last meeting, we are short officers. We tell you that we are. We're not as bad as many communities, but we are short. Not as many people want to be law enforcement officers. These cameras don't sleep. These cameras don't get retirement. These cameras don't take a break. And we have a 7-year warranty in the deal. So we need them. They are a tool in the toolbox that will help law enforcement. They're a tool in the toolbox that will deter all of the things that we all constantly get calls about. From minor theft, which isn't minor when it happens to you, from tire dumping, from trash dumping, plus the fact that our criminals will see, at least some of them, will realize that we have cameras and that they're going to get caught, that they're going to be, those LPRs are not going to sleep. We'll have 25 LPRs spread out through the whole community. They're going to read those license plates. We're going to know who's coming and who's going. You know what? I don't want to wish it on anybody, but it's kind of like a hurricane. I don't want it to come here. Well, you know what? Maybe they'll go to a town that doesn't have cameras, and that's a shame to say that, but I don't want them here. I think that if we wait 2 more years, it's a 25-year deal that remember, I'll take the rap for this all day long. I invited CLECO 3 years early because I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity to be a partner, to take that money and to utilize it in something that our city needs, those crime cameras. So we did it. It didn't work the first time. I'm the first to admit that this council and the efforts of all of y'all, okay, got us a better deal. We met, we had meetings, we hashed it out a year ago. We knew we could bring it back. We brought it back. And I didn't hide in a vacuum. I told y'all I was continuing to negotiate. Y'all told me to continue to negotiate with CLECO, and I did. I'm not going to get a better deal than the deal we have. Is CLECO leaving? We all know CLECO isn't leaving. We beat that horse to death. So it's the best deal at hand to make a difference. Do I want to wait 2 more years? What's the rush? I don't know that what state my community is going to be in if I do not take every opportunity now to change the direction in which we're heading. And crime is the big factor. You want new development, you want people to come, they have to have a safe community. You want my citizens to stay here and not go to Youngsville and Broussard like we talk about all the time? Well, you better take every step you can to keep them here. And a safe community is probably the biggest step. So this is another tool in the toolbox. So that's why we're doing it. What's the rush? The rush is I don't know where my community is going to be in 2 years. I really don't. I think that this is an important issue. You heard the police chief, Todd Dalbor, get up and tell you. I have the assistant chief here tonight. Same thing. We talk about it all the time. But why do you think they're here? They're here because this is a very important thing for the future of our safety and the future of our police department. We just gave raises, thanks to this council, to our police officers again. We have a couple in the academy. We have some in FTO. You know, we're making every effort to continue to build our force. This is a part of building our police force. Is it a partnership with CLECO? Yes. Is CLECO sometimes viewed as the big bad wolf in the room? Sometimes they are, okay? In this case, they stepped up. And after we beat them up, they decided to come back. That was probably the biggest hat trick of all, was to get them back in the room. Because we beat them up pretty good. On the flip side, when you beat them up, we got more things.
Yes.
Okay? I will admit that all day long. Thank you. I mean, and actually, as always, we make a good team. Even when we disagree, good comes out of it because we find a way to work through it. That's the beauty of this. That's government at work. You know, it's not always pretty, but it's government at work. So I think the time is right for this. I think what we're doing is legal. I think what we're doing is a good step for the future of our community. Is it perfect? Hell no. Nothing's perfect. But I find, and you want to know why this is important is another reason. If you're not hitting in every direction at once, if you're not hitting on all cylinders, what do we do as this council? We worry about the people we represent, from their garbage didn't get picked up, to a light that's out, to the big issues. We're building new parks. We're renovating parks. We're worried about quality of life. We're applying for every grant we can. And it's not easy. You can say, oh, I heard of a grant, you didn't apply for it. One, you don't know if we did or we didn't. And number two, some of them, we don't fit the bill. Many of them, after you start looking into it, that's almost all Jane does every day, all day long. We go through every grant I see. Anytime I'm looking at something, I'm texting her at night, hey, why don't you look at this? Why don't you look at that? We don't fit the bill for quite a few of them. We're one of those weird-sized cities. We're too big to be small, too small to be big. So at 29,000 people, there's a lot of things that we're never going to get, that the big cities are going to get, or the very small cities. We're just stuck in a rut. You know, that's just what we are. But, again, I'm going to wrap it up. I think that this is a good deal. I think that we really will be remiss if we pass it up and we don't vote for it. And you know what? There's always, everyone, the easiest thing to do is to find a problem for every solution. Every once in a while, you got to say, you know what? We just got to move ahead because this is something that is worth doing and we see the benefit. I'm done.
And it's not a
Okay.
bribe. And it's not a bribe.
No, it's not.
Last comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I think we should take more time doing it. Some things you move too fast on. Last time we didn't do it. We got a lot. You stopped or they didn't want to talk to myself and Dee Dee Johnson-Reed anymore. You left us out of the negotiations, but because we were there first, I got some of what I wanted. The patrols, because it's not our job to do the patrols at night. We shouldn't have to ride around and get police to check lights. That's what CLECO's supposed to do, but yet CLECO's doing a fantastic job because they come during the hurricanes and all. That's their job. That's nothing above and beyond. What would you expect them to do? That's their infrastructure. They have to fix it. That's what the agreement is about. This one or the next one is going to be the same thing. But we need to hold their feet to the fire and make them do their job to maintain their infrastructure, which they really don't do a good job at a lot of times with the lights. They're supposed to patrol now 2 hours. Well, we probably patrol more than that. But they're getting paid for it. We're paying them for it, the $500,000 a year for the light. So I'm just saying that if we would hold off, I think we could get a lot more because we are one of the largest municipalities that they have. We have the upper hand now, but once we sign that contract, we don't anymore. And we've all said what we needed to say. But I think we're selling ourselves short this time. And of course, I'm going to vote no, and I'll probably be the only one to vote no. But 15 years is plenty long enough for this agreement. And basically, we should definitely try to consider that. And I bet you they would sign a 15-year agreement and give you money also, if you would ask them. I'm finished.
Thank you.
Just one comment.
Yes, sir.
I was in the room with the negotiations.
Yeah, you were, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. I just let y'all talk, because I mean,
That's funny. Anybody else?
Give me some credit.
Hearing no other discussion? I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Ben, chickens would look good with tails. My whole life, when I gotta calm down, I draw. So, anyway, just a little joke.
What is happening?
All right, we are moving on to
Yeah.
3F. Thank you, 3F.
Your mind wasn't.
My mind wasn't on it. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2023-31, an ordinance authorizing the city of New Iberia to enter into an electric service agreement and a street lighting agreement with Cleco Power LLC.
I need a motion to open our
So
public
moved.
hearing.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there anyone from the public to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Motion.
Councilman Dustin Swear, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Thank you. Now I need a motion on the
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Yes, ma'am.
A comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I said, this was one of my pet peeves during the negotiations, that they patrol. And at least we got 2 hours. I think we could get more, but at this point in time, hey, it's only 15 years and we can renegotiate at that time.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
good with that.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's more than 2 hours because they're also going to do the major thoroughfares, and I'm assuming that we would decide what the major thoroughfares are in each one of our districts. And then they're going to do, the other 2 hours is to really ride around those other areas that are not considered major thoroughfares. So I just want us to be clear on what we got in this lighting agreement, in addition to the actual replacement of 200 poles of, 200 lights into LED lights. So, and again, 15 years, I bet that technology is going to be way better than it is today. And we'll have the opportunity to get them to put that technology there.
Anybody else? None? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Item 4A.
Resolution number 23-177, a resolution granting financial assistance from the state of Louisiana under fiscal year 2023-2024 local government assistance program.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Brooke Marcotte and Councilman David Broussard. Any discussion on this item? What's that? Yeah, I think it is requested. Anyway. Hearing and seeing no discussion, please vote your machines. Thank you. 4B.
Resolution number 23-178, a resolution awarding contract to Code Construction of Louisiana LLC for the Sewer System Improvements Project 2023 FPNC number 50-ML1-20-01, and approving change order number 1, and further authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith, all contingent upon approval from the Office of Facility Planning and Control.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Brooke Marcotte, Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 4C.
Resolution number 23-179, a resolution approving capital outlay funding for Pepperplex improvements, planning and construction project, FPNC number 50-ML1-23-01, and designating Jane Bro to act on behalf of the city of New Iberia in all matters pertaining to this project, as well as authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute any and all contracts or documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. I need a second. Who's the second?
Second. Oh,
Oh, I think you were, yeah. Councilman Marlon Lewis.
I thought somebody did second.
Yeah. I didn't hear him. Is there any discussion on this item?
I know the
Okay,
feeling.
so
Yes, ma'am.
I do have something. It probably pertains to this, but more so the other one as well. My daughter was texting me, I apologize.
Okay, that's fine.
So one of the things I'd like for us to consider as a council is as we, and Jeff, I'll need you to tell me whether or not this is something we could do. You know, our unemployment here is fairly high, especially in some communities. And, you know, we get a lot of contracts that come through here. Is there any way, Jeff, that could we as a council vote on an ordinance that when we hire these contractors that, I don't know, 10 to 20% of the workers could be citizens of New Iberia? I mean, is that something that's in our power to do?
I think if it's a contract that's under the public bid law, probably not,
Okay,
because the whole purpose of the public bid law is to encourage competition to reduce public cost. And if we start making requirements and restrictions, we're probably getting an increased cost. On other contracts, I don't know. I don't know. And one place to maybe look at this would be to talk to other municipalities that have tried to do the same thing, so
Okay.
that we don't invent what we can steal. And it could be that other people have. But a call to LMA might be the first resource.
okay. I mean, I know we have, I mean, I've looked at some other municipalities that actually do require, I know there's a lot of federal contracts that do require, or that you can use part of the contract and say it is actually set aside for people that are local in that community. And so just trying to figure out a way to address some of this unemployment, because unemployment, you know, people tend to do things that they wouldn't do, like steal, break into people's garages in the middle of the day, or sell drugs, you know, whatever
move.
that is.
Or move.
Or move, exactly, or move.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
you know, no, thank you for the positive spin on it. But I guess I'm trying to figure out a way to address some of our unemployment here, because I know when people are desperate, they do desperate things. And so we have the ability to make sure that these contracts that are coming through are across our desk, but we could require that they, you know, hire some of our citizens, maybe 10% of their workforce is residents of New Iberia. That could potentially help with some of the issues that we have. So I just wanted to bring that up as we talk about another contract.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just if I can piggyback, also, we talked about doing some job fairs,
Yeah.
that's big, you know, because they got a lot of companies that's looking for employers, and we just need to get them, you know, job fairs intended to bring the employers to the public, and we need to.
Yeah, we need to
put
move
that
forward
together.
on
We
that.
need to put that together.
Yeah. It'd be great if the city could participate in some
Well,
of
we
that,
can
too.
co-sponsor a job fair, so that means you can use a gym, you can use, you know, one of the Simon, you can use one of our facilities. I'm all
Okay.
behind that.
Did the guy get with y'all on the job fair that he's bringing from SLCC? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
we have participated in the past. It hasn't been that often, but I'm all for that. So
Yeah.
that's something we can co-sponsor.
Okay, because Councilman Lewis and I have been talking about putting one together.
Right, right.
At the West End Park, so that we can bring some companies to, let them see that there are some people out there that are worth employing.
I'll help
And,
all I can. That would be
Yeah.
well worth doing.
And you know, I don't think we do enough job fairs. I really don't. And look, I don't want to be facetious. I'm so sorry. I have that character. But you know, you can build a whole company across the street from some people's house and they won't go ask for a job.
That's right.
You know, but we still need to do our part.
Right.
Agreed.
I agree.
Agreed. Okay, back on our 4C item. No, it's okay. It was important. Any other discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Item 4D.
Resolution number 23-180, a resolution approving administrative change order number 2 for the City of New Iberia concrete repair project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed, and a second, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Tell us about it.
So basically during construction, we had some, when we pulled up the concrete, we had some old culverts that were cracked and needed to be replaced and repaired. Talked to the city to get the city to do it, you know, just because of the time constraints, they instructed the contractor to make the repairs.
Yep.
So we've kind of accumulated a few of them over the course of the project. We had, we had one on, Catherine Street, LaSalle, and Sycamore. So it's a total of 5 repairs, cost of time and materials. There's a breakdown of, labor and materials. Total cost is $20,035. And they asked for 5 days, 5 repairs, a day apiece, because they have to take the old pipe out, route new stuff in, and kind of shut them down for that area for the day. So that's the cost to cover those particular drainage repairs on those streets.
Okay.
Questions, comments?
We're good?
Good? Good. All right. And I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 4E.
Resolution number 23-181, a resolution approving administrative change order number 3 for the City of New Iberia concrete repair project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed, and second, I think it was Councilman Marlon Lewis. Good, thank you.
So this change order, just
sir.
like the asphalt project, this is a unit price contract. So you pay for what it takes to fix, we have estimates. So what this does, this balances the budgets for 18 of the 22 streets, because they're completed, with the exception of striping and joint seal, but that's taken into account in these budget estimates. So basically, this is the difference between the bid versus the used cost on these particular streets attached to the change order. Basically, this change order adjusts each line item of the quantities to balance those out. We will have to do one for the 4 streets that are still under construction, and then a final one just to wrap up the project. But there's a budget sheet for each street in the packet provided, and there's a summary at the back, kind of just shows you where the streets ended up on an individual basis.
And some of those were pretty
Yes, ma'am.
expensive, too.
Yes.
Yes, we tried to, we were conservative, we were trying to save panels or half panels, and sometimes you get into it, it just doesn't work. You know, you try to save a half panel, you pull the half panel out, you take out the next panel next to it, they fracture on you. Or if there's a minor fracture that you can't really see, you go start breaking on it, well, now it breaks. And then we get in some situations where the drainage, like we pour the concrete back, well, the next panel is gonna end up blocking the drainage, so we have to make a partial repair, so we don't end up with a drainage issue. So, and then we went through this drought. This drought was very, very terrible. That caused us a lot of problems on a lot of streets, unfortunately. Even on the concrete, you know, we ended up with a lot more repairs, especially next to these big trees. It just destroyed the concrete. So, you know, the last thing I want to do is only finish half a street. I mean, in these, we have a contingency we put in. You know, we always go in with a contingency, we know, because these things will fluctuate. I mean, some streets come under budget, some came over. The last thing we want to do is not finish a street, and then, you know, he asked me why we didn't finish the street. So I try to keep within those, the money that we have. I mean, it's a daily shifting around, and I check numbers on these streets multiple times a week. It's a big financial deal, but you know, that's how we track it and try to make sure that we're good. We did a forecast for the mayor, just talking money, and this actually is under the forecast we gave him so far. So the next 4 streets, we're looking pretty good on those. We should be pretty close, I believe, to our forecast on those. So hopefully this project will end probably beginning of January. We should be able to wrap it up for construction. So they're a lot more proactive than our other contract, unfortunately, which we're still dealing with. But this, like I said, it balances the budget. It would give them additional days for the additional work that they performed. They haven't run out of days yet. They're still on their original contract, but right. I mean, it's a substantial amount of work that they had to do to complete each street. So,
Did the contingency include, like, I don't know, rain delays and all that, so they're not gonna be coming back again for another extension?
No. I mean, we had a conversation with them based on the days that we're getting for these 2 change orders. They should be done well within time.
Okay.
But our asphalt contractor's back in liquidated damages.
Yes, I put
Just
him
to
back
tell
in
you.
liquidated
Again?
damages yesterday.
Yes, yeah, I knew that was coming.
So he's got a very short punch list, but it's still a punch list.
Punch it.
So you're getting free money from him back again.
Yes, sir. Any questions, comments? Then I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 4F.
Resolution number 23-182, a resolution approving change order number 1 for the Jefferson Terrace Drainage Improvements Project, Phase 2, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, second by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Our engineer couldn't be here tonight. We are moving a couple of drain boxes. We added another drain box, and just like with road, this is, you know, it's drainage, but it involves roads as well. We had to up some concrete to 8 inches instead of 6 inches, just because of some existing conditions. So all of that added to a change order of about $24,000. $24.
Oh, yeah.
$24, yeah.
We were just laughing at it being $24, he said
Turn one in
$24.
We worked that out.
A box.
$24.
Days, we have some bloopers for you after tonight.
Phew, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. Any questions or comments on this side? We okay on this one? Good. Then please vote your machines. Thank you.
Make some reels. Just
Hey,
pray.
every once in a while, I took 2 vacation days and I'm paying for it. 5A.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-04, an ordinance amending the budget to actual appropriation remaining American Rescue Plan Act funds in the budget and setting for public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion. Motion by Councilman David Broussard, a second by Councilman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Any discussion on this item?
So we're just kind of getting everything adjusted, right?
Yes, moving between the projects and just, same amount of money because we're not
Right.
getting any more money. So now we're just working between the projects to get stuff done.
Okay.
Anybody else?
How much is that money again, Fred?
The total?
Yeah,
The total of the ARPA money is 10.3 million.
10.3, okay.
Total. Anybody else? Then.
So, well, one question.
Sure.
At the top where it says state grant revenue, that's our balance. 6 million? Is that our balance?
That's the 6 million is the addition, the adjusting.
Come on up, Kevin, because that's not our balance.
No, ma'am. What happens is when we make a budget adjustment, we're affecting the fund balance.
Okay.
This balance in the fund will remain unchanged because we're limited on how much we can receive.
Okay.
That's just to offset the expenditures on the bottom half. If you notice, the top equals the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay, thank you. I understand.
Anybody else? And I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank y'all very much. 5B.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-05, an ordinance amending the budget to account for salary and benefits of Pepperplex maintenance foreman position and setting for public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Any discussion on this item?
So how many employees are we talking about here?
Gonna have a total of 3 with Richard. And they were without Richard. In other
I was
words, we're
gonna
gonna
say,
have
so
a
it's 4.
part-time and 1 part-time and 3 full-time employees. And the foreman was in the budget last year and not in the budget this year, and it just got left off.
Okay.
So we are putting the foreman back in as we originally intended, so that we can try to fill that position.
Okay, all right.
Did we advertise yet?
Well, I wanted to get the position.
I mean, on the other ones.
Yes, definitely. On the other ones we have, and we've been putting it on Indeed and doing whatever we can. So we might have already put the foreman one too, just to start the ball rolling, did you? No, okay, well, that'll come after tonight.
So
If you vote yes.
are these people civil service?
Some are, some aren't. The, Richard is not, he's the department head.
Right.
The assistant is not. And then the foreman and the grass cutting people will be,
Okay,
because they fit in categories that we,
right,
I think you did. But they fit in the, civil service categories.
okay. Just wanted to
Make
make
a
sure.
brief comment?
Yeah, sure.
So DeeDee, just to circle back on your comment earlier, you had talked about private companies hiring local. We need to express, the city's hiring too.
Yes.
I mean, we got a bunch of positions in the city that we're hiring for.
Well, we're gonna have a job fair. We're gonna
We're
make
gonna
sure
have
the
a
city has
table
a
at the
table.
job.
Yeah, you have
Yeah, I
your
was
own
gonna say, the
table.
city gonna
No,
be
no,
at
we're
the
gonna have a
table.
table.
I was serious, I mean,
Yeah.
it's true.
It's the
It is
truth. I
true.
mean, and we definitely want them to have a table at the job fair.
Definitely. We'll make that happen.
We'll make sure they have prime locations so we get as many of the people as
That's
possible.
it. We'll be the first one they talk to.
We got great benefits, people.
That's it. Anybody else in this item? Good. Then please vote your machines. Thank y'all. 5C.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-06, an ordinance amending the budget to reflect cost of crack sealing project and pavement marking project and setting for public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion, Councilwoman DeeDee
Second.
Johnson-Reed and Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Any discussion on this item?
So, I do have a question, Mayor.
Sure.
Okay, so how many streets per district can we mark? Is there a limit on the number of streets per district? Because, I mean, I already have 15 streets on my
This
list.
one isn't striping, you know that.
This is not striping?
But it's okay, you can ask me whatever you want, but this is that crack ceiling. You know when we had those streets that were
Yeah,
damaged?
okay, but I thought it said
Both.
in pavement marking project,
All right,
that's
it's
why.
both, it's both. Okay, I didn't
See?
realize that.
Oh, you're right.
You were right, I was wrong.
Next reel.
Yeah, hey.
I'm joking, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that to you.
We have $200,000 to spend on striping. That will
Okay.
be divided equally per district, like I do everything. And then $20,000 is our engineering fees.
Right,
So first step is for you to turn in the areas that you know you need in each district. And I want to do that as quickly as possible so that our engineer, because if you turn in, I have no clue how many you're going to turn in. We have a total of 200,000. So
Okay.
turn them in, and the first thing he's going to do is kind of try to simulate a budget so that we can see. And it might well be, we turned in too many.
yeah, because I mean, I already have 15, but I'm like trying to ride my district in different areas to see. And
he will too. We just
Yeah.
thought that as we do everything, we want council input like we did when we started with the roads. When we start with the road program again, the new money, first thing he'll do is meet with y'all. So,
Right.
This was one that was small or probably didn't need a meeting, just needed to, give me your concerns.
all right, I'll send it to you in the morning.
Okay, good. But it will be spread evenly, and $200,000 is a pretty good striping chunk. If you look at what we're doing with the 12.5 million that had some striping, if you look at the state that has come in and they're doing the areas that they wanted to do that were major safety hazards, that we had high incidents of, accidents, you take those two and combine it with this $200,000, we're gonna go a long way. We'll be all striped up.
Although the state has not done a great job of striping because Lewis Street looks terrible. I sent that to you the other day. I know, I'm sorry, it was on the weekend, but.
It's okay.
And they only striped the middle. They didn't stripe those other, so people don't know what they're doing. Corrine Street's not the only one they messed up.
I'm not sure if they're finished.
I hope not.
It's all
They did a
done
terrible
now.
job.
It's done now.
You think
All
it's
the
finished?
white on the side and the yellow. Everything I can see that they can do, they did it on Lewis, because I pass every day.
No. Look on Lewis and Dale,
Oh,
in that
Almadal.
area. Between Dale and Almadal, they didn't do a good job. At least not in my
Going out
opinion.
of town.
Because the minute I saw it, I text Freddie saying,
I know.
this looks terrible.
Lewis going out of town, he did a great job. From Amador to.
Okay, well, maybe there, but
I was talking-
those turn lanes and all that, that's not done properly.
Yeah,
At least not in my opinion.
I agree.
Anything further on this item?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And I'd ask, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Now we move on to 5D.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-07, an ordinance amending the budget to allocate funds for the purchase of equipment for street repairs and setting for a public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Any discussion? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. This is an easy one. Thank you very much. 5E.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-08, an ordinance amending the budget to carry over 2023 remaining donated veterans funds and setting for public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman David Broussard, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Any discussion on this side? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. 5F.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2023-2024-09, an ordinance amending the budget to carry over 2023 funds for narcotic investigative tools and setting for public hearing on December 5th, 2023.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis, and who had the second? Councilman D. Johnson Reed. Any discussion on this item? And I, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the narcotic investigative tools. This is something that's going to be used by everybody because
Yeah, this is money that the narcotics seizes, and then they can do what they want with it, provided that it is spent on narcotics items.
Okay.
They have to fight crime in that section with that money. So
Okay.
these are some things that they would like to purchase that will help them, but they're using the money from, narcotic seizures.
Okay, all right, I'm good. I just want to
The
make sure.
question was posed to me, do we have a narcotics department?
We have it, our assistant chief's here, but we are combined with our detectives and narcotics, and they are all one department. And they all jump in and work on everything together.
Is it more efficient that?
Ideally, we would want to have individual sections, but because of the manpower issues, we find that we get more bang for the buck.
It's the most efficient way to run.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that it's the best way to run it, but now, until we get more people, that's how we're going.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Man, I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you. All right, moving on. The one we're waiting on, the last one, 6A.
Resolution number 23-183, a resolution approving a site plan for the demolition of the old Voorhees Supply located at 401 West St. Peter Street and a new construction of a 10,640 square foot Dollar General store.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed, Councilman Dustin Swear. Hey, Jane, how are you?
Do I need to do?
Yes, ma'am. Tell us about it.
Hold on.
Oh,
Jane, put her
You
mic
want the
down.
PowerPoint or the?
Yeah.
yeah, we have a little PowerPoint on this one.
I have hard copies in front of them too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just, while we're waiting, I'll just talk a little bit about the history. The photograph that you see is, everybody recognizes as a Voorhees Supply building. Been there at that location since the 1950s. Very active business, very family-oriented business. And the last couple of years, the building has been vacant. So,
The arrow, the right arrow. Is it off? Turn it on the side.
sorry. Okay, so this is an aerial photograph of the location, and as you're all familiar with, it's on the corner of West St. Peter and Railroad Street. So,
Really, St. Jude, right? Isn't that St. Jude now?
no, it's Railroad Avenue and West St. Peter.
The last brick road we have.
The arrow on the,
No.
either way, I'll press it.
Okay. This is just another photograph of the existing building, for sale, vacant. And so the proposed use is to demolish the building and to construct a new Dollar General store. Well, just to give you an example of how well our commissions work together as a team. The first meeting, and do you want to go to the next one? Sorry. And this is why the commissions met, for one thing, because the location is within the Downtown Commercial Historic District. So the Historic District Commission, by ordinance, gets the opportunity to talk about design and location and ingress, egress of traffic and you know, all of the amenities that go into this new location, the building. Sorry. So a little bit of history about the location too. The location and that space where Voorhees Supply is located is right adjoining two properties that are listed on the National Register. The train depot is on the National Register, and so is the August E. Rath building, as it's known on the National Register, and it's Paul Shake Snyder's A&E Gallery. And also, the next one, that's the depot. And the next slide is about Railroad Avenue, which also has history and was built in the 1850s. So you can go to the next one. So what the Historic District Commission did is they had a meeting, a public hearing on on Monday, October the 30th, and they talked about design and aesthetics and everything, you know, that I mentioned earlier. So even before that, the elevation, the front elevation, the proposed site plan went before our development, the city's development team, which consists of all of the department heads and representatives from our utility companies. They voiced their comments, and those comments were presented to the Historic District Commission. One, Public Works was concerned about Railroad Avenue because of its history and the weight of 18-wheeler delivery trucks coming in. And the second was a fire department who made a recommendation that the hydrant at that location will need to be upgraded. So all of these comments were shared with the developer, and who had a representative at the Historic District Commission. And then 2 days later, the New Iberia Planning Commission met relative to reviewing the site plan because the building was over 10,000 square feet, and that's one of the requirements of that commission. Also was discussed about design, aesthetics, landscaping, signage. You know, your typical Dollar General, no offense, is, you know, your metal building with the sign out in the front on the street. And so we wanted to ask for a little something different. And we were just so excited that the developers, representatives, the contractors were here, and then Mr. Farley. Okay, I don't know if I was pronouncing your name correctly, but he's a representative from the development company, and he will talk to you about the front elevation. But fortunately, and we're very pleased with the outcome of those meetings, but what went into the letter that was presented to you all was a list of the changes that they agreed to. And this is not going to be your typical Dollar General store at this location, and Mr. Farley will talk to you about the changes that they're proposing. And we have this.
Yeah, and thank you for that introduction. Kirk Farrelly, I'm with Capital Growth Buckhalter, 361 Summit Boulevard, Birmingham, Alabama, 35243. Yeah, and like Jane said, and thank you for all the info, I had some other colleagues that attended just because I had other meeting obligations, but some of the notes that I received from them were y'all preferred a monument sign, which we are meeting, so that will have a 4-foot wainscot CMU base, and then it'll be 4-foot by 8-foot horizontal. Then y'all wanted the channel letters with gooseneck lighting, and that's what these elevations reflect, and we will have gooseneck lighting on the delivery side of the building as well. Another condition was to reduce the proposed driveway to Railroad Avenue to 20 feet. We've done that as well, and in addition, we'll have the signs that say no truck traffic, and we will have 10-foot and 10-foot entry and exit lanes as well, and that'll just be for pedestrian traffic. And our delivery truck route works basically just coming in LA 182, and then coming through the front drive aisle, backing up into the loading zone, which is at the northwest corner of the site. And then they complete their delivery, and then they get back on 182, and then find the appropriate path to get wherever they're going to next, whatever store's next. Another request was to reduce the parking to just not have anything that was excessive. So we've gone down to 30 spaces, and by doing that, we've added some more landscape islands as well. I think it's important to note that, you know, the majority of the existing site is building and pavement, and we will be adding significant more landscaping than was there before. And we've also added landscaping, and that's the sign I was talking about earlier. We've also added landscaping along the front and any other parking islands that are available, and that'll be one of these. So the green is all new landscaping. Keep going. And these were just the proposed plantings, and we can work with staff if there's any, you know, species or other comments that they may have on that. That's the truck route I was referring to. And that's the last one. Okay. And that's it. I'm here for any questions y'all may have, and I appreciate everybody working on this with us.
Questions, Tom? Yes, sir. Thanks for coming, and thanks for investing in our community. What is your proposed investment looking like for that site?
So as far as monetary,
Yeah.
It depends on construction,
just
cost when we get to that point.
Right.
$1.5, $2 million.
Okay, significant. It's great for great for our community. I mean, those kind of investments, that's what we're looking for.
How many jobs?
It's about 4 to 6, it just depends, there's about 2 to 3 per shift, so it just depends on the store's needs, but yeah, usually it's about 2 to 3 people per shift.
Yes, ma'am.
So this particular store is going to be in my district, and Jane can probably tell you that I definitely wasn't in favor of it when I first heard about the project. And my concern isn't necessarily, well, I thought about the aesthetics of the district, and so you guys have addressed a lot of those concerns. My other issue is that, and this is, you're a developer, you're not Dollar General, but a lot of times when you pass near those stores, there's a lot of trash in the parking lot, and this is a historic district, and so I wanted to make sure that it's going to be maintained. We don't want trash flying through our district because these people aren't picking up the trash in their parking lot. And this is a problem at every single store I see in New Iberia. And so I'm concerned about that being in our historic district. And I mean, I'm good with the aesthetics. I mean, it looks like it's going to look really nice and it'll probably fit in. We just need to make sure the company understands where this store is located. I mean, it shouldn't happen at any location, but definitely not in our historic district because this is where, tourism is in this area. And so what we don't want is for our, allowing this investment to come in and then it actually causes us other issues and we lose on the other side of the coin. So
And that's a fair point, and I have heard that before. What I would suggest is when the local government has a good relationship with that store manager, those stores look well. I'm not saying y'all don't have that with those other stores, but that would be my suggestion. We will pass along that as well to
well, I'll
corporate.
make it my point to
And the
go and talk
maintenance,
to them.
Oh, Dee Dee's going to visit.
Yeah.
The district manager, I believe, lives in Scott, Louisiana, so they are local to the area and that they want to see it improve. So I'm happy to give that contact info to y'all at a later date.
That would be great. Love to talk to him because, again, we don't want it anywhere, but definitely not in this part of the city. And then it causes us issues with tourism.
I don't hear it either, so.
I'm going to go visit too, Dee Dee, I promise you.
Yes, sir.
I want to piggyback off of what Dee Dee said. Look, I wasn't thrilled either when I heard it was Dollar General. But all at the same time, I mean, it's actually kind of like a bittersweet moment because I spent so many years in that building as a kid growing up to my adult life in the oil and gas industry. So, yeah, I kind of knew that building back and forth, back in my hand. But now that I see the aesthetics of what's going on and the landscaping and the way it's going to be presented, I'm comfortable with it, and I'm sure it's her district, and if she's comfortable with it, then, I say it's a good thing. We always say, we back up planning and zoning. They're the ones that go through the hard work of actually getting to this point, so, I think it's a good move. Like I said, it's bittersweet, but it's a good move, and I'm sure it's good for the family as well.
And I might add, during both
Yes, ma'am.
public meetings, there was no opposition. We advertise even more so. I posted the agendas on Facebook, the city's Facebook page, just to bring people in, and no one came and spoke in opposition.
What a way to get rid of an old white elephant. What a way to get rid of it. Put another, I'll tell you like it is, it's gonna be a white elephant for a long time right there. And y'all gonna come and put something new. And Ms. Dee Dee, I'll be with you, and Mr. Ricky, I've been in some of you out Dollar Generals, had to go shake their bridges to the moon, don't come back. Over there back at the old freezer on Center Street, boxes lined up in the back. Man, I threatened them people so darn hard, they'll find that you don't see the boxes.
Right.
I called the city, and we went in there, and all of us went in there. But it's gonna keep clean. If you're gonna build something nice, we gonna make sure. Because not many people have a big place like this to have a Dollar General. We're gonna keep it as much as we can try, Mr. Mayor.
I would advocate that you do.
Yeah, how is that gonna affect the other Dollar General down the street? Is that one gonna remain open?
No, sir, this is a new location, it's not a relocation. So what Dollar General does is they get heat maps for where their customers are coming from, and so they just try to make as many convenient locations as they can.
So it won't affect?
Will not affect those other ones, no, sir.
Anybody else? And I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming, man.
All right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Farley? If you could get that contact information to Jane? Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Moving on to Councilman's remarks.
Happy Thanksgiving, be safe, stay warm. God bless you. Councilman Lewis.
Thank you, sir.
It's the same message, so have a good Thanksgiving and be safe.
Yeah, I think, just everyone stay safe and try to spend some family time with your families during the holidays. It means a lot, and just want to commend the city. I don't know if we, last week we had the pancake supper in the downtown shopping hours, extra hours. I attended both of them, and I'd like to see more people, but the city is moving, and we're trying to do things that are proactive for our community, and I think people are working hard, so appreciate all the effort that people's putting out.
Happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Hopefully, you'll spend some time with your family, travel, see some of the different areas besides here. But hopefully, some people are coming into our city and spend some money, spend some time with their loved ones. So just be blessed.
So I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I think mine's going to be great. All of my children are going to be here for the first time in 6 years. So I'm really excited. I was hoping they would be able to come tonight, but they didn't get in town. I wanted them to come in and see me at the council, but, didn't work out. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone in the community. And I really hope that the people that don't have a place to go and eat, that they go to Weston Park to be served, because there are going to be some dinners being served for the people who aren't as fortunate as the rest of us. So please go out and get yourself a meal.
Yes, just like the rest of the council, I want to wish everyone a happy and blessed Thanksgiving, and just be safe out there if you're traveling. Thank you.
Can I have one more comment?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
I want to thank everybody who did come to our Neighborhood Watch Thanksgiving dinner. And I do want to thank Warren Goshasan, my parish council person, and also Pelicans, who donated a ham. It was very tasty. We had a blessed time. Our mayor was there. He gave a wonderful speech about what's going on in New Iberia, and we had a great time. So thanks for all, because the weather was bad. I think that's part of why I'm sick right now. I was out in that rain on Monday night and Tuesday night, but I can say that it was well worth it. So thanks to all who attended and wanted to attend and could.
Thank you. Been a long meeting. I'll keep it really brief. Have a good Thanksgiving, and just remember, we are very blessed to live in this community. So take your blessings and run. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.